TNA sacrifice may be over, but which 4 men are going to be sacrificed for the upcoming King of the Mountain match? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. It's an TNA review, this time for the 18th of May 2006. We have 8 men wanting to take away Christian Cage's TNA World title, that NWA Championship, but 8 does not go into 4. And that's the amount of spots that Larry Sabisco is giving them for the King of the Mountain match on whatever pay-per-view it's on.
It's called, I believe, Slammiversary.
That's the one, Slammiversary.
Slammiversary was always King of the Mountain. You know what? I'll admit, I always preferred the early Money in the Banks, but I think as a concept, I've always kind of preferred King of the Mountain because TNA put the legit top guys in it. I feel like with the Money in the Bank, it was always
mid-carders.
The mid to upper mid.
Aye. You weren't getting the true main eventers in there.
TNA were literally giving you like a 5-man ladder match for the belt.
Were Shawn Michaels or Triple H ever in a Money in the Bank?
No. I think that sums it up. And you know, someday like
Taker never in it.
I don't want to say Cena was never in it in the height of his career, but he wasn't really. Cena only really began to enter it like the early to mid 2010s.
Aye, yeah. So I mean, whatever. Anyway,
like, WrestleMania 23, right? You know, and 21 as well. I think they were star-studded ones, but I think the more you got away from the first one, the less stars we managed to get.
No, I definitely agree with that. Anyway, we're here tonight to talk about TNA. We're not here to talk about WWE when WWE was good, because that would be a long conversation, because we could talk for days and hours and weeks and months, but unfortunately WWE is no longer good, so we're going to talk about neither's TNA, to be honest. So yeah, we're back in time to talk about good wrestling. You need a time machine, damn it. But yeah, let's stop wasting time. Let's get into this show. So we kick off the Impact show opens. You get highlights for Sacrifice. Christian Cage comes down, he's in the crowd, he claims that this title belongs as much to the peeps as it does to him, and he's proven that, I guess, by being surrounded by these people. He makes his way into the ring, but before he can do much else, he gets surrounded. We get this music that we're not really familiar with, and then we see Rhino comes out, and we get Jeff Jarrett and Steiner, and we get R-Truth sitting in the Ron Killings. He's in the crowd as well. You got Raven hanging from somewhere. Sting appears on a balcony. Rhino. I'm missing somebody? I don't know. Rhino, Abyss, Sting, Jarrett, Steiner, Raven, Monty Brown as well. So Monty Brown, the
first guy that came out.
First guy, and I totally forgot about him. He wants a rematch, but it turns out so do these other 7 guys. They want a shot. Sabisco says, "That's it, King of the Mountain. 4 of you guys will get an opportunity, and we're going to determine those 4 over the next 4 weeks with qualifying matches." So, I mean, that's a good way to keep TNA interesting, I guess, in the build-up to Slammiversary. I mean, could you maybe have 2 qualifying matches over 2 weeks? I mean, could you spread it out? Maybe do 2 tonight, 2 next week, and then that way, for the final few weeks of build-up, you actually know the participants. I mean, I guess. But it's 1 hour shows, so maybe they feel it's better not to rush it. Either way, I thought it was a good start to the show. All the top guys, all the main event guys out there wanting the gold.
Yeah, I wish modern wrestling was like this, where you actually got the top guys every week on every show, but you don't. But here, you get everyone. Here. Is everyone here a bona fide main eventer? Of course not. You'd struggle to find 8 guys that are bona fide main eventers, so there's a reason why the herd needs thinning, and we're going to end up with 4 and not 8. But not everyone get a word in.
Hold on, all these guys could easily be the champion. Like, they either have been or will be.
No, they could. I'm not denying that, but I mean, there is a difference, in my opinion, between like Steiner, Jarrett, Sting, and then you've got like Raven, who's been hanging around in bin bags for the past 4 years. So
former NWA World Champion, former ACW World, former Hardcore Champion.
But he's going down. You know, I mean, the Raven's peaked at this point.
It'll be
playing I Spy with Jericho in 10 years in a podcast territory soon.
We have Joe backstage. Tenay says there's a lot of questions with him, but Joe just looks into the camera and he doesn't answer any questions. Then we got a video package for Senshi. Senshi says the new Senshi era is going to begin next week. Who cares? This is just low-key after his trip to Japan. And I low-key couldn't give a shit.
Oh, that was good. I like that. No, who cares about this guy?
Oh, I've been to Japan, I've changed my name, I've got a Japanese name now, care about me? No.
I just don't think the X Division I mean, the X Division works, but hyper up this guy doesn't work because they're a dime a dozen in TNA.
Yeah, this
He would have
guy's not...
suited. He would have suited WWE much more because there's just a lack of emphasis on the cruiserweights at this time.
For me, the X Division in TNA is probably already peaked at this point because you're getting Joe and Daniels and Styles getting away from the X Division. Now, of course, you're adding Kevin Nash, which is pretty cool. But, we get the World Cup tiebreaker match, I guess, because America and Canada tied. So tonight we're getting Sabin, Petey Williams. All teams are banned from ringside, according to Larry Sabisco. So they have to actually leave the arena. They're not allowed to be there. So it's a quick 7-second walk for them to get to the outside the arena. We get the match. Match was all right. We have LAX. They've commandeered the foreign announce table tonight with Spanish only signs.
Si, senor.
No entry for the English. So, some racial tensions here from LAX. We also have, what do we have? I didn't see Guerrero, by the way. Where was Hector?
Hector wasn't there, but Kevin Nash backstage chokes at the security guard, then walks in. And this is how you make a long match interesting. You break it up.
Kevin Nash, commercial break. And we've got Kevin Nash arriving, choking some guy out, and he's on his way to the building. This is getting me intrigued. We come back for the break. We get the continuation of the match. Sabin and Williams, they fight it out. In the end, Sabin hits the cradle shot, gets the win. Thought it was a good match. Nice to see America win, I guess, if you're American. But
Chris Sabin did some decent face work, I thought, in this match. He was taunting the Canadians with the anthem in the corner.
We had Petey Williams basically put his foot on his crotch and do the anthem, so Sabin done it back to him. Nice stuff, and then Nash comes out, attacks Sabin from behind, destroys the trophy, then picks up the trophy and starts poking Sabin in the head with it. And I mean, Tenay said he was gouging his eyes out. I don't know if he was doing that, but he did bust him open. Then he got him in the ring, hit a dodgy looking jackknife. You'd think, considering Sabin weighs about 90 pounds, he'd be able to hit a fucking good one.
I know.
I think it was. I think Sabin's that small, Nash couldn't really get a grip of him.
It must be weird, right, when you go for jackknife and like Big Show.
But to Chris Sabin?
Aye.
It looked like Nash didn't really get a proper grip of him, and that's why what happened. But anyway, Nash leaves him laying. The rest of the Americans come out to check on Sabin, but then Shelley's like, you know what, fuck it. Fuck this American team. The X Cup's over. I'm aligning myself with Nash. Shelley leaves, and him and Nash leave the arena. So good stuff. Nash comes out. I'm interested. I'm excited. I want to see what's happening with Nash and Shelley, because the past 2 weeks have actually brought us some really good television with these two. The Shelley Cam and Kevin Nash burying the Rock. I like it.
Ratings up here. Rocky. Ratings down there.
Yeah, we have Jeremy Borash backstage with the King of the Mountain participants. Steiner freaks out. Roid Rage gets the better of him, and he says he's going to go and speak to Sabisco. We come back for the break. We've got one of the Naturals in the ring. I guess he's getting ready to take on Joe, but Steiner comes down. Steiner then attacks Mike Tenay and Dom West.
See how this looks good though, right? Because he starts choking out Dom West. Look at it today, right? You've got Wade Barrett, and it's not Wade Barrett's fault, he's 6'5", but he's bigger than 99% of the roster. Here you've got Scott Steiner, arms built like the Twin Towers, reaching over and fucking grabbing and choking the life out of both of these guys.
Steiner wants them to get to Sabisco. He tells them, Sabisco, he wants Sting tonight, but Dom West and Tenay are trying to explain that they don't have the pole, and you know they all they can do is relay the message to Sabisco. I don't know why Steiner just doesn't directly go to Sabisco, but then Samoa Joe comes out. We get Joe and Steiner have a bit of a face-off. Steiner then flexes his muscles in Joe's arms because Joe doesn't have any, so I mean Joe can't really flex it back.
Flexes the fat on his muscles.
Then Steiner says, "You don't want none of this, boy," and just does the just flexes the guns, and then he walks off to the back. Crowd are chanting, "Joe's going to kill you," but all Joe's going to do is eat another Big Mac. He gets in the ring, he beats down one of the Naturals, and then after the match he's beating him up again. Then the other Natural, who was almost killed by Steiner 4 weeks ago, comes down to make the save, points at Joe, and Joe backs off. So quick match, 2 minutes, buried, but it looks like the Naturals are back in TNA.
This is all the point it needs to serve, though. We don't need. Seeing a 41-minute show, excluding ads, you don't need this.
Aye, so Shane Douglas came out to the ramp. He looked on. We're trying to debate here, is Shane Douglas and Andy Douglas related? Turns out they're not. unless Shane Douglas was impregnating women at 14 years old.
Yeah, I just knew Shane Douglas was, at this point he was too. But it's weird. Shane Douglas is only 60, and I know 60's old, but by wrestling terms in 2025, it's probably not.
Shane Douglas could have a return if he's up for it. Like,
He must have suffered an injury because I don't remember him wrestling into the 21st century.
Anyway,
And therefore that puts him at his mid-30s when he retired.
Shane Douglas looked a wee bit upset here. Not too sure why.
He looked depressed.
Now, if Andy Douglas was his son, I guess it would make a bit of sense, but I don't know. I mean, I guess he did manage the Naturals for a cup of coffee. Maybe it had something to do with that. But then come back for the break. We've got Team 3D backstage. Brawler Ray's not happy that they took out Devon's shoulder, but he said he'd rather Devon's shoulder be injured than his own. Devon's like, what you talking about? But Ray's like, don't worry about it, pats him on the shoulder. Wee bit of tension here with Team 3D. Brother says he can't believe, Brother Ray says he can't believe that basically the New Age Outlaws cheated because he was willing to have a wrestling match, a clean match, but they didn't want that, and he even threw a drop kick out. Brother Devon calls bullshit, says that Ray's never did a drop kick in his life. I'm going to believe Devon here.
He's hit a few drumsticks, though.
He has. This is not so black and white, but I'm not convinced that we've seen Brother Ray ever hit a drop kick. But then Brother Ray puts over Extreme, puts over Tables, First Blood, Last Man Standing, says if the Voodoo Kin Mafia want to fight, then let's prove who is the best fighting team. And then he buries the revival of ECW, which are currently getting in WWE right now. So I believe at this point we are heading into the first week or second week of ECW on the Sci-Fi channel. I think we've already maybe had 1 week. So yeah, Brother Ray calls that out, says you can't breathe life into something when the heart and soul is here in TNA and not there.
Right, is this jealousy for Bubba Ray? I don't know if it is, right? But see, back in 2005, there was probably no plans to do ECW, and they've left.
Look, see, Brother Ray, I mean, see if he wants to say, look, there's a lot of ECW, heart and soul in TNA, he's within his right to do so, because 100% you've got the Dudleys, and I know he's probably trying to put himself over, but you've also got Rhino,
Raven,
you've got Raven,
Douglas,
and ECW, right? But, I mean, let's not pretend that WWE didn't have some really good ECW. I mean, they had RVD, they had the Sandman, they had Sabu, they had Tommy Dreamer, they had Paul Heyman. So
Joey Styles.
Listen, we can turn around and say, and I think that's a big thing. I as much as I like TNA, I think that if TNA wasn't around and if it didn't exist, then I think the WWE ECW revival would have been so much better. Now, would McMahon have killed it in a year anyway? Probably. But I think the first year would have just been so much better having the Dudleys and Raven and Rhino in the original ECW when they brought it back. But, I mean, for Brother Ray to basically say that one doesn't really count because all the ECW guys are here, I mean, it's bullshit, isn't it?
It's almost like he's saying this in 2008. Not 6. No, if this is in 2008, absolutely. It's done. It's Tommy Dreamer and that's it. That's your buck.
Aye.
2006, you've got Roadkill, you've got Balls Mahoney, you get most of the FBI
Just
in
incredible.
there. Yeah, we could talk all night about how many you've got. At the end of the day, it's like, you were in One Night Stand a year ago. Is that not breathing life into something that's dead? It's like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, so for me, it's like, I mean, it is what it is, but it would have been nice to see these guys in ECW, but let's not...
We call it out in 2025 when, like, AEW or NXT or whatever, WWE, they take shots at each other. I feel like it's every other week in TNA, shots at WWE, whether it's the Champ and Christian, or it's the Dudleys, or just ex-WWE. It's a bit pathetic.
No, I get it, bro. I mean, yeah, it would be nice, it would be better if the Dudleys were in it, but let's not pretend that the 2006 ECW roster shite, and that, you know, it's not got the heart and soul, because there's a... Let's be honest, if you were going to create ECW, if you were bringing back ECW in 2006, in May 2006, which roster would you rather have? If you could only have the TNA roster, and I'm just talking about the ECW guys from it, if you could only have the ECW guys for TNA or the ECW guys from WWE, which company is in a better place to have an ECW brand? It's clearly WWE.
Oh, aye. Here, see at this point, the Dudleys, I love the Dudleys, right? Probably my favourite tag team of all time, but a tag team wasn't detrimental to ECW. You need it single, guys. Could they have done, see the Dudleys joined ECW, right?
Would they have maybe had a set of titles, possibly?
Yeah, possibly. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is this: they couldn't. It wouldn't really. Rob Van Dam and Sabu are way more important to ECW in 2006 than the Dudleys.
You know,
based off that alone.
I think you could make an argument that if the Dudleys were in WWE, they'd probably been moved to Raw or SmackDown within 6 months anyway.
Yeah, no, I
because
agree.
ECW had no titles, and I think there's a good chance rather than actually creating ECW titles, McMahon would have just been like, "Nah, you can move to Raw after 2 weeks or something."
No, absolutely.
Anyway, it was
he moved everyone else, so why not move them?
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent wee promo. Is what it is. Then we get the King of the Mountain qualifying match. Turns out we're getting Rhino versus Abyss this week. So Rhino comes down, hits some heavy offense. You know, hard hitting match here between Rhino and Abyss. I expect nothing less. I feel like these guys wrestle each other
Every
lot,
week.
but I'm not complaining.
These are two guys who know how to work, so it's good.
But it is stale. I mean, it does feel stale, but it's not boring because they do have they work good matches. Like, you know, they're not going to do fucking classic wrestling holds or put somebody in a sleeper for 10 minutes.
Considering Rhino was going to lose this anyway and Abyss is going to go through, I think Abyss Raven would have been the one. That's what I thought it was going to be. That's the one I would have went for.
Yeah, we have interference with Bobby Roode and Team Canada. Scott D'Amore comes down there. I guess they're still.
Are you not a bit sick of Team Canada? I am.
Or maybe I think they need to maybe promote up the card a wee bit. They're kind of stuck in no man's land, aren't they? The land of irrelevance.
I know you say that, but they're helping Abyss, who was feuding with Christian, and you know they were helping Jeff Jarrett when he was champ. I just think they've got a too prominent role. I feel like every second segment they're there.
Anyway, they're here. They cost Rhino. Rhino walks into a black hole slam. Abyss gets the win, and then we have Scott D'Amore climbing on top of Rhino, and he's bashing Rhino. He's like, this is what happens when you mess with Canada. And then the show ends with Abyss and Scott D'Amore and Rhino laid out flat in the ring. So I mean, is what it is. But did we need to see Rhino versus Abyss again? Even WrestleFeud.com have said that they could have done with a break from seeing Rhino versus Abyss for the 1 millionth time.
Yeah, and yeah, like obviously Steiner and Jarrett aren't going to face each other and two heels aren't, but there's so many other matches you could have put in here. Abyss could have took on Ron Simmons. You know what I mean? I don't think we've seen that before.
Ron Simmons?
Oh, I mean...
Ron Killens?
Ron Killens.
Ron Simmons.
What is Ron Simmons done at this point? He is, isn't he?
I don't know. Anyway, he's probably... Damn. Yeah, no what?
Adrenaline rush.
Yeah, I think Ron Simmons aged pretty quickly. Do you not think so?
What do you mean?
There was never really a return. I know he had like they beat down Heath Slater, but I mean, see when him and Bradshaw retired early 2004, he was done.
Oh no, came at the odd time to say damn.
Yeah, but I mean, do you not think he just looked very old after that? Anytime you seen him backstage where he had the whole just the word damn.
No, I agree, but I don't think he's aged since then though.
No,
from once he aged, he hasn't aged.
All I'm saying is, I think when Farouk went from being an active competitor to not being an active competitor, he looked like he aged about 15 years.
I think that's normal though. You want to know why? Because see, once you retire, there's no need to go to the gym as much. There's no need to work out. There's no you're not as active because you're not as active.
True. Anyway, this was a decent show. Active, lots of stuff happening.
It's like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, two guys for me that have aged horrifically. If their careers lasted longer, I don't think they'd look as bad. But anyway, I'm going to give this show a 7 out of 10.
That's exactly what I was going to give guys, a solid 7, and you're looking forward to seeing the rest of the King of the Mountain qualifying matches. That's it. Till next time, let us know your rating, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.